Hello and welcome back to COM 207 Public Speaking. This will be the hopefully brief explanation of your upcoming informative speeches. So typically, people seek knowledge for three reasons: to know, understand, and to use information. That's pretty much it. We want to intake information in several of those ways. Therefore, when delivering an informal speech, you will either present to your listeners new information, either help them better understand the information they already know, or enable them to apply information in some form or fashion. Informal speaking involves sharing information with others in order to enhance their knowledge or understanding of information, concepts, and ideas you present. It is also considered to be one of the most important skills taught in public speaking courses. So let's review three main goals of informative speeches, things that we should shoot for. There are three main goals of informative speaking: to make clear, to make interesting, and to make significant. First, let's talk about clarity. Clarity, to make things clear, is the primary goal of any informative speech. Achieving clarity may involve providing new information or new perspectives on a topic or to set an agenda of some sort. Agenda setting is creating awareness about a specific topic that listeners may not be familiar with. Some kind of political agenda or something that's locally significant. That would be some specific type of agenda, and you can put that in within your speeches and set that agenda and make sure that all of your main points follow those um, particular agenda points. Secondary goal of informative speaking is to make your topic interesting to your audience members. That's pretty much one of the main points of giving a speech, is not only giving them information but making it interesting so they can actually walk away with the information and retain it. You can arouse their interest by showing how the topic can be important to them specifically. You can relate your own personal experiences with the topic and demonstrate the similarities between you and your listeners in order to raise their awareness of the importance of the topic. And the third goal of informative speaking is to make your topic significant. An effective informative speaker or speech will choose a topic that is important and meaningful to the audience. And you can see there's a kind of a recurring thing here. The audience members will not latch onto your agenda or your message unless you show some kind of significance to them or something within their lives. So it's a pinnacle thing to do within your speeches. Next, let's review a few principles of informative speaking. When preparing an informal speech, there are several principles to follow. The first principle is to focus on your audience. Again, that's a reoccurring thing. It's not that you're just taking this information and slinging it at your audience haphazardly. You want to make sure that you keep your audience in mind and connect it to them in some form or fashion. Following these principles will enable you to achieve clarity, also to create interest, and make your speech significance to your audience. Again, we're trying to satisfy those three goals that we spoke about in the last slide. There should be a clear speaker to topic to audience relationship. So basically, this should address the questions of why you chose the topic and why the audience should care about it. Relate yourself to the topic, your experiences, your expertise, so on and so forth, and then relate the topic to your audience members. If you want your audience to be engaged during the speech, you need to relate your topic to your listeners, their wants, their needs, their goals. We're more likely to listen as an audience if the information is relevant to us and useful. Audience members can only take so much information in at one time, so you should avoid information overload, which is providing them with too much information that they can absorb in the duration of the speech that you're going to give. So again, limit the amount of the information that you're giving them and the complexity of that information. Relate new information to old information. A popular technique for understanding the unknown is to connect it to the known. We actually learn information and retain it longer using this method. Relate the unfamiliar to the familiar, the unseen to the seen, and the untasted to the tasted. Right. So again, that's kind of a cornerstone of our learning process. Is if you know something already, then you might be easier. It might be easier to know something else or to learn something else if you apply that or juxtapose that known thing to the unknown. Use various types of extractions or levels of extraction. It is important to discuss some topics on a general level, high abstraction, right? And other, and others on a very specific level, low abstraction, being very specific to the point that you're trying to give. However, when a speaker actually varies the level of abstraction using a combination of both general and specific information, that tends to work best. Make your speech memorable. It is important for listeners to not only comprehend your information, but also to remember their information. Make it memorable in part by making your speech relevant and important to their lives. Informative speech research guidelines. You are informing your audience on this particular topic, and so you need to make sure that you have solid research within your speech so that you can have high ethos and that it can believe what you're saying because you've done your research and you're citing the proper sources. So when you're looking for your specific research topic, you want to use reputable and up-to-date resources. Here on Texas Campus, the Prescott Memorial Library has a website, um, and you can use it to do your research. What you want to find on that website are scholarly articles, research books or academic books, academic journals, government articles and information. And again, these can all be found on the Prescott Memorial Library's database. When you're researching your topic, you don't want to use Wikipedia, about.com, dictionary.com, or any other biased or non-vetted internet sources. There's tons of information out there on the internet. You need to make sure that you're vetting the right type of sources, ones that are reputable, well used, used in academic situations, not just random websites that you find online. Here's a short video going into the details about evaluating websites for your research.
Welcome to this library's tutorial on evaluating websites. In this tutorial, you will learn how to determine whether a website contains trustworthy information that is appropriate for college-level research. Many websites contain trustworthy information that is appropriate to use in college-level research. But because no one regulates information placed on the web, there are also websites that you would not want to use in a research paper. Websites, for example, with out-of-date, inaccurate, or biased information. Here are some questions you can ask that will help you critically evaluate information you find on the web. Who is the author of the website? Does the website present information that is biased, one-sided? Does the website present accurate information? Is the website current enough for your research topic? This tutorial will explore those questions in more detail. When evaluating a website, ask yourself who has written the website content. Are the author's credentials given? Think about the author's expertise and credibility. Knowing who wrote the content can help you determine the website's trustworthiness. You may find an author whose credentials are not given on the website. When that happens, use Google or another search engine to see if you can find information on the author elsewhere on the web. Frequently, an organization can be considered the author of a website. For example, the author of a website might be a business, a professional association, or a government agency. You can usually find a link on an organization's website that provides information about the organization, its activities, mission, leadership, and so on. Learning about the organization can help you judge the credibility of the information on the organization's website. When evaluating a website, also ask yourself, does the website present information that is objective and neutral as possible, or is the website presenting biased, one-sided information? Depending on your research project, it may be appropriate for you to use biased information. For example, if you are presenting both sides of an argument in a pro-con essay about the chemical industry and environmental groups, you could cite information from a chemical industry association and from environmental activists. But you need to be aware of possible bias in a website and use, or not use, that website accordingly. When evaluating a website, you should also ask, is the information on the website accurate? Compare the information on the website with knowledge you have gained from other sources in the course of your research to see if the website contains errors. For example, you might compare the information in a website with scholarly articles you have read in library databases, with reference books, and so on. Also, does the website give sources for the information it presents, sources you can look up and verify? Timeliness is another important factor, especially if you are researching a topic in which knowledge can change rapidly, like health and medicine, business, or technology. When judging a website's timeliness, ask yourself, does the website date its information? If so, is the information current enough for the topic you are researching? You can find trustworthy, useful information on all types of websites: commercial websites, organization, government, education websites, and so on. But no matter what kind of website you are using, you must critically evaluate the information it contains.
Okay, a few things to remember when you're getting your speeches together. This is true of all of your speeches, and I'll continue to remind you. But you want to make sure that you craft a clear thesis statement. Remember that thesis statements are basically the why we're giving the speech. Usually it combines your purpose and your main points. For example, today in the next few moments, we can gain a better understanding of why we should implement the Universal Declaration of Human Rights over the preservation of the state of sovereignty by, and these is where the main points come in, examining one clear problem, one global solution, the benefits of this plan, and what we can do as individuals to ensure this plan succeeds. You also want to make sure that you have clear transitional statements. And again, this not only refers to this particular speech, but all speeches that you give should have transitional statements in between the introduction, the main points, or main points within the body, and your conclusion. For example, you can say something like, let us begin our examination of this policy by first looking at the specific problem of human rights, human right abuses. Now that we are aware that the problem exists, let us now turn to a possible solution. Or now that we are aware of the problem and can endorse the solution, let us visualize the benefits of the entire globe. So you can see in these examples that the first point is right after the introduction. The second would be near the body, and the third would be towards the conclusion. your speeches, because you're going to be doing research outside of your own work, you'll have to orally cite specific sources. So again, whenever you're going online to pull your information from the different databases that you'll be pulling them from, you need to cite those sources. For example, and this will be said inside of the speech. So this is again an oral citation. In his 2011 book, Why Jane Smith is So Awesome, author Jason Smith explains the importance of taking a public speaking course. He writes that public speaking is a fundamental course that should be required of all college students because it equips students with critical thinking, research, preparation, delivery, and communication skills that are highly valued in the contemporary job market. So we can see in the example, the speaker is giving very specific citations of where he or she retained this information. So in his book, Why Jane Smith is So Awesome, the author Jason Smith. So not only do we have the source of the research, specifically we have the author of the research, so on and so forth. So when you're citing these sources orally, make sure that you're giving specific places and authors to your information. The Works Cited page. Unlike the first speech that we gave, your self-introductory speeches, your information speech, and your formative speech rather, and your persuasive speeches will have works cited pages that you have to turn in with your outline. So a few things to remember. Written citations will be in MLA form. That means they need to be in alphabetical order. They need to be double spaced. Have a hanging indentation. They must begin on a separate page. They must begin on a separate page. So not at the bottom of your outline, but on a separate page other than your outline. And must be labeled as a works cited page. So a few more details on the assignment. Your outline and your works cited page should be uploaded to Moodle by Friday, June 19th by noon, 12 p.m. And again, remember that your outline and your works cited page should be two separate pages. Speeches will begin June 22nd and end June 23rd. Because we have two different dates, I will email you specifically when your date will be. We will not get the speech order, but you'll know exactly the date of your speech. Also, be prepared to critique one of your fellow classmates' speeches. You will be given that particular person or that partner, and just make sure that you are listening to their speech and critiquing their speech using the questions that are in the evaluation sheet that you can find on Moodle. These are just a quick glance at the details of your upcoming speeches. To get the full details, make sure that you go to Moodle and download the PDF of this particular assignment that has all of the, again, other details that I haven't gone over here. If you have any questions or concerns, please make sure to email me as soon as possible. And I will see you guys on speech day.